Hello everyone and welcome to QualityOldHomm. Today we are making another tier list, this time from Necropolis's units, and the tier list is based on the unit fighting capabilities, but also the costs and requirements affect things here. And furthermore, in the background there is my test regarding how good is different units in which they face trials, and also the costs and requirements are taken into account in those tests, and also some other tests where units are pitted against each other. But that's how good this series takes kind of the precedence over other tests. But without further ado, let's begin first with tier 1 unit. We have basic skeletons, and I think the main question regarding both skeletons and skeleton warriors is, does necromancy apply? And if it does, and I think, well, let's say first it doesn't. So as tier 1 unit skeletons and skeleton warriors, I think they are, perhaps skeletons are D tier and skeleton warriors C tier, because they are relatively slow and they are not that powerful. But I think we will apply the necromancy here, so the numbers of these units will be rather vast, and thus skeletons will get place in A tier. And even though the number of those skeletons will be really high with necromancy applied, the unit is relatively slow and it will slow down your army, and thus I cannot give them a place in S tier. The skeleton warriors suffer a bit from the same issues, but I think they deserve a place in S tier. They are slightly better fighting units and they have slightly better speed, so I think S or very strong A. Let's put S tier for now, because, well, Necropolis is about necromancy and so on, so forth. Then we have perhaps the top contender for the worst unit in the game, Walking Dead. Really slow, really bad. It, well, some may say that it's tanky unit. Okay, it can take a bit of a beating, but it cannot deliver beating. It's really slow and doesn't have any abilities that are worth mentioning, so clearly at the worst reaches of D tier. Zombies, slightly faster, have that attacking ability, but I still think they are absolutely the worst upgraded tier 2 unit in the game. Slightly better than Walking Dead, but still really bad. So D tier definitely for them. Then we have whites. I mean, in small scale battles these guys can do rather well, and of course they can fly, so that's a bonus, but overall I think they are rather weak if compared to other tier 3 units. So in Necropolis's roster I think they deserve a place in C tier, because, well, they are quite a bit better than these Walking Dead and zombies, at least in my opinion, because of the slightly improved speed and flight. And of course that regeneration, or whatever it's called, with these units. Then we have Wraith, slightly faster and can drain enemy mana, which can be rather important. Well, perhaps depending on if this is the decisive battle, then this unit is not so good, but if you have kind of a vanguard hero in front of your main army and you want to weaken the enemy army, then splitting Wraiths into 7 stacks will drain spell points quite nicely. So I think strong C or rather weak B tier, and I think I will give them rather weak B tier. Then we have vampires, flying, no retaliation, but they are rather glass cannons, so I think they deserve a place only in C tier. They don't really do that well in battle, in my opinion. But then again, when you upgrade them, Vampire Lords, they are clearly in the highest tiers here. And I mean, the unit is kind of either or. So if you manage to win the battle, you usually suffer no casualties if you are having vampire lords only. But if you start to suffer casualties and cannot replenish them, then you will most likely lose the whole stack. So the middle ground between total victory and total defeat is rather small with vampire lords. But still, I think one of the best, if not the best, tier 4 unit in the game, and thus they deserve a place in S tier, and I think even above skeletons because of the high speed, and you can rather easily take care of those small neutral armies guarding resources and so on with vampire lords alone, so they will keep your expansion going on rather nicely. Then we have liches. I think Death Cloud is their saving grace, and that you can actually control where to shoot that Death Cloud, so you can hit multiple enemies. Without Death Cloud, they would probably be the worst tier 5 unit or level 5 unit, but because of that Death Cloud, I think they deserve a place in B tier. And then we have power liches. I mean, rather same than liches with a bit better stats, so I think they deserve a place in A tier. I think especially in siege defenses, these units are rather nice, especially against AI, which tends to clump their units up rather nicely for these guys to hit them rather nicely as well. Then let's move to tier 6. Then first we have Black Knights, rather costly tier 6 unit, but I think rather worth it. They can curse enemies, which is rather nice, and they can take quite a bit of beating, so I think they will go to A tier. Perhaps the speed could be improved a bit, but still, I mean, relatively okay. And then we have Dread Knight. Yeah. They have also the same perks that the Black Knights. At the same time, they have that death blow attack. And, well, there is 20% chance of that. This is among the costliest tier 6 units in the game. At the same time, it's clearly the best one. Perhaps champions can beat these if they can get that jousting bonus to maximum. They can charge first and they don't receive those death blows too much. So I'm kind of wondering strong A tier or weak S tier. And the main reason is that the death blow really is kind of a RNG based ability. So if it does not hit, then the quality of the unit drops quite a bit. But I think still they deserve a place in weaker side of S tier. And while we had the strongest contenders for worst tier 2 units there, we have rather strong contenders for worst tier 7 units as well. So Bone Dragon, I think it's the worst tier 7 unit, unupgraded one. And the reason why it's above these two is that the unit has high speed, which does not slow down your army. Perhaps it could be even in low C tier, because the unit is quite cheap. And of course flying and high speed are nice, so let's not be too harsh on them. So weaker C tier, let's put them somewhere around there. And then we have Ghost Dragons, perhaps the worst upgraded tier 7 unit. Of course they have that nice aging ability, and if you can combine that, for example, with Dread Knight's Death Blow, that's a rather nice combo, but that aging is another RNG based capability, and the unit is really weak, so it cannot take that much punishment before going down, and because of that I think it deserves a place only in B- tier. Of course, well, they are nice addition to the army, don't get me wrong, but other tier 7 units are so much better in most of the cases that I think, yeah, the Ghost Dragons don't deserve a place any higher, in my opinion. And of course, if you're having full army, your army doesn't quite benefit from the high speed of the units, at least in the campaign map, because those skeletons will be slowing you down. At the same time, they are the units that will hit the enemy hardest, so yeah. I mean, Ghost Dragon can do okay in some situations, but in bigger battles, they are not that good, in my opinion. So, this is my tier list of Necropolis's unit roster in Heroes of Might and Magic Horn of the Abyss edition. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Have a great rest of the day. QualityOldHomm out.